Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman miniature game 3rd edition battle report for the channel. Today for you we have a 350 rep match on the new table layout between a Batman crew being led by a new Batman debuting on the channel, and the Kobra Yuga cult is back to do the nasty stuff that the Kobra cult do. So without further ado, let's take a look at the two crews. So the GCPD was just trying to enjoy a one-man rock concert on the roof of the dilapidated police station, and then the Kobra cult had to go and ruin everything. So here we are. This is the 6 miniatures making up the Batman crew, being led by Death Metal Batman. He's a much more teamwork focused miniature. He has an aura that debuffs enemies, buffs allies. He can extend it as well if he does a solo. He's pretty good in combat as well. He can use his ranged attack in base to base. And he's got the general Batman stats, so bat armor, attack 5, defense 5 I believe. And he's pretty quick as well for a Batman. He's 10 inches movement. So he's not a pushover, but he is more focused on trying to help people around him with free efforts and that kind of stuff. And we'll be trying him out today to see how he does. Speaking of which, we're also bringing what was formerly a free agent Batgirl, but has been updated in the app to be a henchman now. She's also been given the limited equipment role, so she can take one upgrade, and she has taken a helmet to give her hardened. I think she dropped by like 5 rep in cost as well. Oh yeah, and I believe she was also given the True Love James W. Gordon, so if you bring a Gordon, that will help her. I think her best place is in a cop spam Gordon led list, but we're kind of mixing the two ideas this time, see how we do. On that note, the year 1 Gordon is here as well, so he does classify as counting for her True Love role because he's got the name. Then we have Lorita because of the good gun, GCPD Detective who has a radio, and Merkel because Merkel. Oh yeah, and Gordon has been given Street Guy as an upgrade because there was 50 funding spare at the end. So there's 8 miniatures in the Kobra cult, Kobra Yuga, but we're just going to call him Kobra cult for brevity's sake. Being led by the deadly Jeffrey, as always. Coming along is Hazard Trooper 1 with his pretty decent assault rifle. The Nagus, who has been updated in the app, so he has hidden now. He's got one of the boys, I think. He's got much better rules now than his original card. Lady Eve is here as a sidekick. She's got the Favourite Follower or whatever upgrade it's called, so she just flat generates 1 extra faith per turn for them. Other than that, Jeffrey will be getting 1 faith anytime someone puts a suspect down within 8 of him. Then we have the Assorted Henchman. We have 1 Lancehead 1, which is the little guy with the knife. Well, he's the same height as them, but he's kind of squatting. The Lancehead Soldier with the sword, and then 2 Lancehead 2s, because they have the minion rule, so you can bring multiple. So they both got carbines, rate of fire 4 or 5, single blood. Usually only have 1 of them, but we're going to see how 2 of them do today. Alright, we are back with setup complete. Couple of things to mention. Jeffrey is picking Scheming 3 for his World's Deadliest Man role, and it was a radio that the Nagus now has along with Hidden. Wouldn't need one of the boys because he's a henchman anyway. So those are the 2 roles he has. The Kobra cult are on your right, the Batman crew are on your left. There's a couple of phase 2 cards to be covered though, both played by the cult. One is Ritual, so by the end of the turn they need to make sure they have a friendly suspect within 6 inches of 3 other friendly ones, and when it scores you have to remove 2 of them. But again, the scoring check for that is the end of the turn. And interestingly, the other one they're playing is Jeffrey's unique card, which is the Kobra Viral Bomb, a turn 1 viral bomb. So it's placed within 4 of the middle of the map. Middle's roughly there. It's been placed right there. You put 3 event markers within 8. 1, 2, 3. You can try and defuse them if you defuse all of them, although each one has a 1 in 6 chance of causing the bomb to explode early. You stop the bomb, but if it goes off and it hits at least 1 enemy, it will score for 3. So, with those in play, we can see that Nagus didn't really deploy that far forwards, just a little bit forwards. Got one of the Lancehead 2s up here with Audacity, then we've got the Soldier next to Jeffrey who has Audacity, the Hazard Trooper has Audacity, the other one is on the roof without, and then on the far side of the building, which is a bit hard to see, is Lancehead 1 and Lady Eve, and Lady Eve has Audacity. The GCPD Detective also had hidden, he's behind the blue van there. We've got Lorita down here with Audacity, Batman Gordon, and Barbara here with Audacity, Merkel down here without. That covers everything, I think, so with that, let's jump into Battle Round 1 and get this started. Well, an evil cult ritual isn't going to perform itself, so the first activation for Kobra Cult, who I believe forgot to mention that they have first activation and they do have a 2 model advantage on the Batman crew, and Batgirl was giving an extra pass as well, so they've got lots of passes they can use. But either way, Lancehead Soldier got things started, moved up, and then used the Inspire from Jeffrey to put down their first of, I'm sure, many suspect markers. So the Batman crew made use of one of their passes, and as a result, Lancehead 2, well, one of the Lancehead 2s, on the roof of the building here activated without audacity and far enough away from Jeffrey that there's no manipulate. He climbed the boxes, he's perched on the edge of the building there, ready to shoot next turn. He was positioning himself such that he's outside of 4 of the lantern there, or the light, sorry. A second pass got used by the Batman crew, so the Kobra Cult activated their Lancehead 1, the guy with just the knife, who brings a knife. And he moved forwards I should say. No audacity or anything like that, so he's just hiding. The lamp is blocking his... there he is. He is between the street sweeper and the corner of the building there, just using it for a little bit of cover. So the Batman crew finally decided to act and activated the JCPD detective. No audacity, but does have a radio, so Batman is helping him out with that Inspire. He moved into the corner of the map next to the loaded truck there. He put down a suspect marker, but you'll notice that 2 next to him, not on the suspect marker. That is because he put into play wait for backup. Play during activation of a friendly model with a cop trait. Choose a board edge, the one he's next to. Roll 1d6, he rolled a 1, so that's why I set it at 2. Reduce it at the end of each subsequent activation, and if he's still within 4 of that board edge by the time it hits 0 and not KO'd or casualtied, score for 2. And it has been measured that Lady Eve can't get to him, nor can, well, he's already gone, but there is no guns that can reach him this turn. The Nagus activated for the Kobra Cult. He moved up and then used that radio in order to get an Inspire and put down a suspect marker, making sure that it is within 6 inches of the one over there. So even if it doesn't end up scoring anything, that Cobra Bomb is being a very big nuisance for the Batman crew, trying to get people into position to do things without having to be within 8 of the bomb and then taking damage. So Gordon activated, and he moved a very, very precise move, such that he is outside of 4 of that lamp, outside of 8 of the bomb, which is at the back of that truck there, and such that he is further than 2 inches away from deployment, so you can put down a suspect marker. You can already see that it is the game's first snitch, trying to position it such that it would have to be, well, it would have to be Jeffrey because of the size of his base, to come out of that sewer there to stop it scoring. And if he does, Loretta can see him, Batman's right there, etc. So he could potentially stop it, but it would cost him pretty badly. A regular sized base miniature coming through that sewer would not be close enough to the snitch to stop it. On that note, with the completion of Gordon's activation, or the triggering of it, wait for backup has scored, so it's the first card on the scoreboard. The other Lancehead 2 activated, the one with audacity. He moved not quite to the end of the truck there, enough that he's just outside of 4 of the suspect over there, but within 6, and then he put down a suspect marker of his own. Decided, actually, he had a free Inspire from Jeffrey, so if he wanted to, he could fire, but he'd probably be firing into the night. We'll be back if he decides to fire. Yeah, he's going to hold on to his ammo. He can negate moving and firing because it's an assault weapon, but he can't even see Gordon within 12, so he'd be losing dice from firing into the night, with the -1 as well. It doesn't seem worth it. Batgirl was the only one in the Batman crew with a Batclaw, so she's the only one that can pose a threat, and she can't go after both guns simultaneously. So one of them, will, at the very least, will be safe. Well, it was time for Death Metal Batman to spring into action. He's no longer where he started, which was down there, of course. But first, to cover, keep forgetting that the cultist armor that some of the generic henchmen have in the Cobra Cult, you can actually give yourself a +1 defense at the cost of an effort, and it's not a special action, you can just do it. So, retroactively just saying that the gunmen up there, the Lancehead 2 and the Lancehead 1 down there, they're relatively safe, so they have efforted once each to give themselves +1 defense die next time they have to roll defense dice. Again, keep forgetting it's not a special action. Anyway, Death Metal Batman, he has the power supply roll, which is what the Frank Miller Power Armor Batman has. You can choose between a few different buffs. You have 3 power counters, and he opted to give himself 4 inches of extra movement, which was enough that he came all the way down here into the danger zone of the Nagus. Also, Death Metal Batman inspires himself. He has the one of the boys roll. So he was able to do a free manipulated Inspire, which he used to get rid of the suspect marker there, and scored a comb through everything for doing that. Then he used his double stun overwhelming heavy guitar, made of Plastic Man I think, to smack Nagus upside the head. They both efforted 3 times, He's attack 5, strength dice +1, and -1 to defense rolls on his guitar attacks. 8 stun went through. The Nagus is very, very unconscious from that. He also made use of his special action to do change the tempo, which has increased his inspire radius from 8 to 12. The other option is you can choose to do free inspires for people affected. Now he does also negatively affect enemies in his inspire range, so again that's 12 inches now. If they want to take advantage of their boss's inspire, they have to effort first, I guess because he's drowning out the commands with his guitar. But either way, very, very effective turn that was not planned out. The Hazard Trooper activated for the Kobra cult. He only moved 6 inches, so he crawled round the corner right there, and using the Inspired Manipulate to put down a suspect marker to again try and get the ritual back on track. But that was a free move, and he has an Audacity marker, so he used his gun, Assault Red Dot Double Blood, on Death Metal Batman. He just needed to get 1 hit through to score a card. Needing 5s normally, but 6s thanks to moving and firing an assault weapon at full rate of fire. 1 reroll from the red dot. Didn't get a single 6. So sadly, fired ineffectively into Batman there. Oh, and of course, if he was shooting at Batman within 12, that means he was also within his extended inspire range. So he had to effort in order to use that manipulated inspire. Put down the suspect marker there, so he has 1 stun damage. Lodida activated for the Batman crew. They moved up around the side of the Batmobile in front of Gordon there, sadly putting them in the light of the lamp there, but still outside of range of the Kobra bomb. And he took some shots at the Lancehead soldier downwind. He rolled appallingly. Now, because he moved and is shooting an assault weapon, it's -1 to his rolls. Normally we just need 2s and 3s. He rolled a bunch of 2s. Thankfully he had a red dot for a single reroll, which then converted into a success. Would normally be double blood, however he is firing some non-lethal ammo, so that has been converted into 2 stun instead in order to score 2 points. That could have been so much worse for the Lancehead soldier. He got lucky there with a very bad whiff of a roll. Lady Eve activated for the Kobra cult, moved her 10 inches into base to base with the sewer marker there, giving her just enough of an angle on the detective that she can actually use her expansive Kobra gas on him. Normally it just does slow, but for 2 faith, to do an empowered cast, Awakened was used as its faith purpose, so her attack gets the poison effect, but also he immediately has to do a endurance roll, which actually was not done. So let's just quickly see, what is his endurance? 5, he is fine. But he is poisoned. He'll be doing another check at the end of a turn. He's got slow 2 as well, or 2 inches off his next move, and she's now in position to chase him down. She also made use of her Kobra armor, so she's efforted once in order to get 1 extra defense die for the next time she rolls. Second last activation of the turn for the Batman crew was Officer Merkel, without Audacity and even with the extended Inspire range well out of range of it. So he just moved up. He's being quite brave. He's staring down Lady Eve in the face, but again trying very hard to have nobody near that or within 8 of that bomb there. So Jeffrey, Destroyer of Worlds, was the last person to activate in the turn and just ran forwards his 10 inches on his big base to put down a suspect marker barely outside of 4 of that and that in order to try and make the ritual score. Now Batgirl definitely has a chance of stopping that again, but it will put her in a very precarious position for turn 2, surrounded by very powerful people. Like Jeffrey is stronger than your average Batman. Not sure how he'll do against Death Metal Batman, but he is scarily strong, so gonna have to think carefully about what her next move is. So Barbara activated and she made use of her Bat Claw. It didn't really give her as much of a range as she wanted, so she took a chance. It gave her just enough that she could go after the Hazard Trooper and just be out of the 8 inches of the Kobra bomb. And he's actually just inside, so currently I think he's the only one being hit by it. But anyway, she, like most Barbara Gordons, has combo unarmed, but unlike most Barbara Gordons, she also has reinforced gloves. So she can potentially dish out a lot of decent stuff. She's attack 4 as well, with a 4+ strength die. So he has Kobra Hazard Armor, which means she loses 1 die automatically for that. But she's getting a free effort from being within 12 of Death Metal Batman, so that kind of cancels out. The Hazard Trooper did not effort. She threw in an extra 1. He did very poorly with his defense rolls. She did pretty decently with her attack rolls. And that is 12 stun damage, so he is very much unconscious. And she scored a cheeky 1 point for doing so by scoring a They Won't See Me Coming. And that does take us into the scoring for Battle Round 1. So at the end of Battle Round 1 we have a lot to cover, starting with poison checks, wake up checks, etc. GCPD Detective managed to pass again, so no poison damage there. The Hazard Trooper is unconscious. He's also the only person who got damaged by the bomb. And the Nagus has woken up. As for the cards in play, the Snitch scores for the Batman crew. They did very well in the first round. The Cobra Cult were a little bit struggling, but now they're able to shoot people and whatnot. It might improve in the next turn. Of the cards they have in play, as just explained, the Cobra Bomb only hit an ally, so it is gone and no good. The Ritual does score, because there is a suspect marker with 3 more within 6, like that, but you have to remove 2 of them, so 2 of those will be missing when we start the next round. Haven't decided yet which ones are going. But for the Nagus waking up while Jeffrey is right next to him, it seems like Strict Control, which is Lady Eve's card, can score. Not 100% sure if this counts. It might have to be like a fear check or something mid-round, but we're going to count it so that they're on the scoreboard. Friendly model within 4 of a friendly model with the leader or sidekick rank passes a willpower and endurance roll. He passed his wake-up roll, so we're going to count that as a score for 3. So they are on the scoreboard for 6, so they only scored 2 cards, but they were worth it. And with that, let's jump into battle round 2. One last thing to mention, Jeffrey had 3 stun damage at the end of the last turn due to the faith points unspent, assuming that he generates them on himself. Actually, I think it's only henchmen, so he would have 2, so 2 stun damage, healed down to 1 at the end of the turn, but a little bit of stun damage on him there just from unspent faith. Top of Battle Round 2 and the Batman crew have taken priority, although they have a number of passes available to themselves still in this turn, so they can choose, if they want, to just keep passing at the start. They probably won't want to, considering how many guns are now trained on their people, but, you know, we'll see. There is no cards being played by either side in Phase 1 or Phase 2, so we just need to quickly look at who has Audacity for each side. Gordon's got it, Batman's got it, Batgirl, and Officer Merkel for the Batman crew. Merkel's up there. And then for the Cobra Cult, Jeffrey, the Lancehead Soldier, the Lancehead 1 with the knife stuck in the corner there, and Lady Eve. That is all, I think. Yep, that covers it. Let's jump in. Well, the battle round got started with Death Metal Batman, and we have a lot to cover, so let's do this in steps. He walked next to Jeffrey and challenged him to felonious assault. They both efforted 3 times, although I just realised he has a free one because he counts as a henchman for one of the boys, so actually he only used 2 stamina. That'll be corrected in a second. Using his power supply rule, he made it so that not only is he essentially requiring 2 successes to, or whichever one he had, he's using the power supply so that he can get 2 hits per single hit, and then overwhelming so that you need 2 blocks to block 1 hit, or vice versa. I forget which one is which. Either way, he was getting both those effects this turn. Still needing 5s, so not super fantastic. He did manage to get 3 hits through, all said and done. But Jeffrey spent the 1 faith point generated at the top of the turn by Lady Eve to make the poor Nagus, who was on the floor, barely conscious, take the hit instead. Now, you only take it up to the limit they have left, and then it's back over to Jeffrey. So there were 6 stun transferred to the Nagus. He only has 1 stun left, so 1 goes away, and then 5 more goes back to Jeffrey, but that saves him from getting knocked out by 1. The Nagus is knocked out again, and as a result actually scores a card called Full Devotion. A friendly model with the henchman rank within 4 inches of a friendly suspect model marker suffers KO or is removed as a casualty as a result of taking damage on behalf of their boss. So a rare card to actually score rather than use for the resource, but the Nagus actually scored that in being knocked out again. Jeffrey still has a turn. He had a special action left, so he did Shockwave, so every enemy model within 4 suffers Slow Force. So the soldier over there, Jeffrey, and if he wakes up, the Nagus. Not a great turn, really needed to take Jeffrey out there, even though killing him, quote unquote, making him a casualty, does not reward any points because he has a moral. Oh no, we're still here because we're actually not done, because forgot at the end of turn 1, Jeffrey took some stun damage from unspent faith points, and wasn't sure if he gave himself 1 for placing a suspect marker down. It just says friendly models, and he's a friendly model within distance of himself, so presumably it did, although it doesn't matter if it did or didn't. He obviously healed 1 stun, but he still had 2 or 3 on him, depending on whether or not that is the case of how it works. So the point being, he had 1 plus more stun than was anticipated for doing that little mathematics there, which means he is actually unconscious. which is doubly bad because he has Immortal, as previously said. Can't score anything on him, so Batman might as well just remove him by spending as a resource back to Arkham. If a friendly model with the name Bruce Wayne makes an enemy model with the leader, psychic, or free agent rank KO, you can remove it as a casualty immediately. Why not? Because he can't be scored on. So, unfortunately for Jeffrey, due to that unspent faith in turn 1, that just screwed him royally. Well, undeterred by Jeffrey's removal from the table, Lady Eve activated, moved into base to base with the JCPD detective all the way down here, but did not attack him, instead removed the suspect marker that he put down in the first turn in order to score a sabotage. Reveal an enemy suspect marker, and then there's no enemy suspect markers within 4 inches of any of the game edges. Currently the only other marker they put down was the snitch, that's now converted to a normal one, and that is outside of 4. Loretta activated without audacity, stayed where they were and used up the last of their ammo to shoot at the Lancet soldier again, and did much better with his rolls in general, got 8, but converted it to stun once again using the other non-lethal ammo, so that's both of them scored now, and the Lancet soldier is obviously very, very unconscious. So the Lancet 2 up on top of the truck here decided to activate, and Batgirl had exposed her back, and infuriatingly, like a lot of the Batgirls, she's not an acrobat. So he turned his rifle on her, shot at her, and this is the roll. That has not been changed in any way. That was the roll, a near perfect roll to do 6 damage in total for the 5 rate of fire plus strength die, which would have killed her. It would have killed her, but this newly made into a henchman Batgirl had a helmet purchased for her, which gave her harden so she could convert one of the damage to stun, keeping her barely on the field. That is the best decision, war gear wise, ever to have been made, because she would have just got 1 shot, which is ridiculous. All he wanted to do was like, hey, we'll get some damage on it, be pretty good. He wanted at least 1 so he could score a sacrifice, which is what he did. Was not expecting to almost kill her, or would have killed her if not for the helmet. A friendly model within 4 of a friendly suspect marker inflicts at least 1 blood. He's right next to the suspect marker, so yeah, she lived, but only just. Well, you'll notice the street has been cleared, however. First of all, with the damage that was sitting on the table there, the smaller blood icon was on the wrong side. She took 5 blood, 1 stun. She would have taken 6 blood, she's a 6/6 mini. But yeah, it was flipped to the wrong side during the recording of this scene. Anywho, she activated, because otherwise she's going to die. She arrested the hazard trooper, because she's built in handcuffs. She has arrest for her special action, scoring a get them off the streets for a massive 3. Well timed draw on the card. At the end of the turn, the first turn. She then suffered impaired movement to run after the poor man who shot her in the back and initiated felonious assault. And he's only defense 2, so I actually don't think that. I think now looking at the number of markers there, I think there's a 3 missing because she really, really clobbered him. But either way, she had a free effort from Batman, didn't effort herself, but very much knocked out the gentleman who shot her. I think she's still visible from the one at the roof, so if you wanted to be vindictive and kill her, it might be possible. We need to check that. But it all comes down to cards. The Kobra cult is steadily losing people. We do need to go to the other end of the table, but just showing, finally remembered that 2 of those suspect markers should not be there. It does not affect anything that's happened. The one down here and the one there were removed. That's the only one that had any influence on anything, and it's still there. So anyway, it was Lancehead 1 who activated with audacity, and he forgot to take his defense marker with him. He moved up there behind the truck, put down a suspect marker, and scored the slightly better version of Black Ops for the Kobra cult called Can Be Anyone, because Black Ops requires you not to be, the suspect marker not to be seen either. This just needs a friendly model no enemy model can draw line of sight to, puts a suspect marker down within 6 of an enemy model. And there's 2, Merkel and the detective. Officer Merkel activated and decided to ignore the nasty things that might be happening to the GCPD detective over there. He had audacity, so he moved behind the van here, and he has put down a marker which has become the second snitch of the game. There is no one in range to get it unless the gunman up there, or actually even if he did, I don't think we'd have enough after falling. Well, maybe. Although why would he want to fall when he can shoot? So thanks to how many knockouts they're suffering from, this Lancet 2 up here is the last activation in the turn for the Kobra cult, and it looks like he can see Batgirl. Kinda looked it out, turned the camera, etc. It looks like he can draw a line of sight to her. 4 of his 6 shots in total got through to her. 1 was enough, obviously, although she could convert 1. But either way, despite doing very well, Barbara is gone. Didn't even score anything on it. But that's Kobra cult done for the turn, so it's over to Gordon and the JCPD detective. Of those two, the GCPD detective activated first, made use of that radio he's got to turn around the corner. He was suffering impaired movement from the -2 he had from slow. He has 10 inches, so 8 was more than enough to go around there. He revealed the enemy suspect marker in order to score another comb through everything. And to end off the battle round, Gordon came around the corner of the Batmobile there into base to base with the Nagus and has arrested him, taking him off the board and scoring for a massive 3, another comb through everything. The Batman crew does seem to be running away with it, and the Kobra cult is very thin on the numbers. But we're going to scoring now for battle round 2. So then battle round 2, that was a disastrous round for the Kobra cult, and the Batman crew just got all the cards they needed at just the right time to remove threats. In fact, of the, I believe there's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, I think there's 5 Kobra cult left on the table. Only 3 of them are conscious, which is really, really bad. There is no additional cards being put into play for either side in Phase 4, but we do have to cover the one Phase 3 that was in play. The Snitch, it scores, the one that Merkel put down. That's 3 more on the board for the Batman crew. The GCPD detective failed his poison roll, so he has taken 1 blood as a result of that. Everyone conscious is healed 1 stun, but no wake-ups down here for these 2 gentlemen, which is very, very bad. Top of the penultimate turn, battle round 3, and despite having 3 banked passes they didn't use, the Batman crew actually did miss out on first activation. So what happens when you roll a 1 versus a 5. So Kobra cult is taking first activation, what little of them are left in what is most likely going to be a very quick latter half of the game. There is a Phase 2 being put into play for each side, unveiling the truth for the Batman crew. It is being played on Batman. Probably won't score at this point, but hey, it's in play. And speaking of not scoring, another ritual is being put in place by the Kobra cult. Basically everyone who is on the board and conscious for the Kobra cult have audacity. For the Batman crew it's everyone except the JCPD detective, because with the Kobra cult getting first activation, things don't look good for his well-being. And on that note, let's get into the turn. So perhaps expectantly, Lady Eve got the turn started for the Kobra cult. She walked around the corner to the JCPD detective, who efforted 3 times. She did the same with her double blood sharp enervating 1, although that doesn't matter. Weapon Master sword got him, didn't do that well actually, but got him twice, which is enough with the poison damage he took that he is removed, and in doing so she has scored a awakening card. Incidentally, Lady Eve is obviously the de facto leader now. An enemy model within 8 of a friendly model is removed as a casualty while suffering poison. Loretta activated for the Batman crew, no ammo left, so just came around here and has put down a suspect marker within mere centimetres of the edge of the board. One can only imagine why. So the Lancehead 2 on the building decided to activate with audacity and jumped off the building. His 8 inches is enough to cover it that he doesn't die or take damage from falling, or from jumping down, but it doesn't give him much to play with either. So from where he is, now this is presumably correct that even though Lady Eve is now the leader, she generates that 1 automatic faith that she would normally do anyway, because it's being spent on the faith ability of another ritual card, where when a model is playing a suspect, he can instead place 2 and they can be 4 inches away. So put 1 there and there. This is an effort to try and make the ritual that's in play score. So a simple activation for Death Metal Batman followed. He's just going across the battlefield playing sick guitar riffs. He walked over here and has put down a suspect marker. Isn't doing anything else. So again, thanks to so many of them being unconscious or dead, we're actually at the last activation of the turn for the Kobra cult already. It's Lancehead 1 with his little knife. He moved his 8 inches up to the back of this van and is doing nothing else at present. Although actually, he probably is far enough away that he could put down a suspect marker, just so he's not wasting this turn doing nothing. We'll check that. There might be a suspect marker in front of him. If that's an acceptable placement, then it's over to Merkel and or Gordon. Well, he did put down a suspect marker, but Merkel activated and decided that's the one he wanted to remove. He could reach the other ones, but opted for that one because then he's still got a little bit of cover from danger, and that did score a comb through everything for him. And the battle round is ended by a very simple Year 1 Gordon turn as well. He walked up to the unconscious Lancehead soldier and has arrested them. They are off the table, and that scores the final. Get them off the streets, expanding the Batman crew's lead even further. And that already takes us to the scoring for Battle Round 3. Unbelievable. So the end of Battle Round 3, things are not looking good for the Kobra cult. However, miraculously on a roll of snake eyes, This Lancehead 2 has woken up. He also has no ammo. The other one still has one load of ammo, but he doesn't. So, you know, he'll be super useful in the final turn, I'm sure. The ritual card in play by the Kobra cult, nope, does not score. It is gone. There is a phase 4 card being played by the Batman crew. Who could ever have seen this coming? Secure the perimeter, remove 2 friendly suspect markers from within 2 of the board edge to score for 2. This one are both gone. Everyone conscious has healed 1 stun. And with that, let's jump into the final round. Dawn of the final day, the top of round 4, and the Batman crew have snatched back first activation. Forgot to mention, but the Unveiling the Truth is still in effect. It's not going to score. One phase 1 card being played by the Kobra cult. It is their Die Hard, and it's being played on Lancehead 1, the man with the little knife that is hiding behind that blue van currently facing down Officer Merkel. Pray for him. Everyone on the table who is conscious, which is everybody actually, has Audacity. 4 models on each side. So with that, no other cards to talk about. Let's see this last scramble for points play out. So Death Metal Batman sprung to action. He climbed up on top of the truck, and that knockdown should not be there anymore because he was bludgeoned with a guitar and has been re-knocked out. So his game is over. And then, making use of his one of the boys rules, so he counts as inspiring himself, he revealed the suspect marker that had been in front of him there, putting 2 markers on Unveiling the Truth, but there's still 3 suspect markers, so at this point it does not score, but it might soon. Oh, and sorry, didn't include putting down the actual stun markers, because he only needed 1 to get re-knocked out. The actual number was a 6, I think. Either way, that's just why. Lady Eve activated and decided to go after Merkel. He was so close to surviving the match. Remember that one time he killed Bane? Anyway, she efforted 3 times, so did he. She got 3 hits through for a total of 6 blood with her double blood sword. Her sword also does enervating. She scores and I'm feeling weird on top of that, as well as killing poor Merkel. This close to surviving the game, this close to retirement. The reader activated, put down a suspect marker, which became the final snitch of the game, right where they started their turn, and then moved up here, out of line of sight to be a little safe. Second last activation of the game for the Kobra cult was the Lancehead 2, the surviving conscious one. Used the last of his ammo shooting into Gordon, who does have a bulletproof vest. Didn't do great on the roll, but just wanted that 1 hit, and he got 2 to score the other sacrifice. So that is, if in focus, both of them scored, and he stayed where he was because there's no point moving. So thanks to Merkel biting the bullet, it's over to Gordon to end off the turn and the game for the Batman crew. Started roughly there, moved down here, then as a special action used coordination to order Lorida to do an action. It's a better version of order, but did it as if it was order, and it's put down another suspect marker. So now it's over to Lancehead 1 to end off the game. Well, last little chance for a score. He came round the corner here, revealed the suspect marker that Merkel put down a turn or 2 ago, and scored the generic card Confusion. Friendly model reveals an enemy suspect marker within 8 of the enemy deployment zone, which is what he did. And with that, we're into the scoring for the final turn. Well, before we see how much of a bloodbath that was for the Kobra cult, we do have to cover the cards in play and any other additional ones being played. Unveiling the Truth does not score, it is discarded. The final snitch does score, and a final Secure the Perimeter is also scoring, with that and that going away. And the Die Hard from Kobra cult scores because Lancehead 1 survived. With that, let's go see the final scores. Now, to be fair, the Kobra cult score deck is actually pretty thick. Not as thick as the Batman crew. They did most of their possible scores. But I think if turn 1 they'd been able to score more than just trying to set up a ritual before they started losing people, Kobra would have been on par with them a little bit. But let's see how bad this was. Batman crew. So that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 25, 26, 7, 8, yep, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 35 on the dot. Let's see what Kobra got. 2, 4, is there another card there? No. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, and that puts them at 24. So they lost by 11, which is a fair amount. But as I say, if they could have done more in that first battle round when they had the numbers advantage, but it was so hard trying to make sure that ritual was set up, and a lot of the more generic cards they could have scored easy in turn 1, like I'm Feeling Weird, or the one where you can poison people, would have been so easy to score them turn 1 and then start focusing on more things like the ritual or putting down suspect markers hidden, that kind of thing. There was a lot of unlucky wake-up rolls for the Kobra side as well, although they are low willpower for the most part, 4s and 5s, so it's to be expected. Deathmetal Batman did very well. We didn't see a true fight between him and Jeffrey, really, although thanks to that power supply roll he can make himself pretty tough. He didn't even do the one where he can make his defense better for a turn, so he seems pretty decent if you want a buffing Batman. He's the same rep cost as Red Rain Batman, who is probably better, maybe, but fun, definitely fun. I would like to see that Batgirl again in a Cop Spam Gordon-led list. The Back to Gotham Gordon, probably. I feel like that's where she would be best suited. She did well here, though. The Cobra Cult, their deck is hard, and the order in which they drew cards today was not in their favour. Anyway, that is going to do it. Thank you very much for watching. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. Thank you for doing so, and see you next time. Ta-ta for now.